Hi, I'm Brad from Ductus, and in a previous video we discussed impactful automation, what it is, how it lets teams address root causes of failure in automation programs, and how its principles can be used today to achieve better outcomes in those automation programs. In these series of videos, we're going to decompose the 4 pillars of a healthy automation program and discuss one of them. And in this video, we're discussing objectivity. And objectivity is the ability of an automation program to measure the impact of automation use cases before developing them, and then once they've been developed and deployed, dynamically tracking the impact of that automation to make sure you're getting ever closer to your stated business goals. Now, in the EMA survey that I'm going to keep on citing until they release a new one, around 31% of respondents indicated that they had trouble securing organizational buy-in for their automation efforts. And that's usually a function of an inability to make a business justification for automation. So you weren't able to really clearly articulate the financial impact of that automation. Around 23% just were not able to project a payback period. They couldn't capture an ROI realization window. And even if they did get buy-in, when it came time to make that justification on a more granular level, they just didn't know when the automation would pay off. And finally, around 19% of teams, once they did get the go-ahead, could not prioritize automation use cases against each other in a backlog. And that led to a sort of analysis paralysis where there was just no development that took place. And what we have seen is that the best outcomes occur when the organization has North Star KPIs. If they have a broad KPI that they want to improve, then all of the automation that we develop can be in service of that, and then we have a way to measure the impact of these automation use cases against each other. One example I'll discuss in one of our clients was a very clear KPI that was very measurable. A 70% automated remediation of tickets that came in. Knowing that that was the KPI that we were being measured against, we were able to look at all the automation use cases that were proposed by different organizations within the company and understand if they brought us closer to that KPI. Once we had that KPI from the top, it allowed us to sort out the backlog. We put together a year-long roadmap and iteratively developed and deployed that automation and achieved the intended outcome. So if you're wondering, what can I do today to help impose this kind of objectivity on my automation program? I think the first step would be to understand if you know what your organization's high-level KPIs are. Is there some sort of audit that you have to adhere to? Is there configuration compliance that you're trying to achieve in various markets? Is there a mean time to repair or time to value that you're trying to hit? If you do not know this, then that should be the first conversation you have. What are we trying to accomplish broadly as an organization through automation? Once you have that down, the next conversation you should have with your team, or multiple teams, because it could be a sprawling process, is to understand how to measure that impact. Going back to mean time to repair, if that's what you're trying to reduce, then we need to know if we have the ability to understand when something failed, when it was remediated, and take the delta between those two. If we don't really have a way to measure the effect of our automation, then we can't argue for its success and continued development. So before we embark on a really complex automation use case, take the time to understand what those North Star KPIs are, and if we have the capacity right now to measure the outcomes of the automation. And I'd like to thank you for taking time to listen to this video, and we have 3 more on the way discussing different pillars of impactful automation. And again, thank you very much. Click on these videos down here, and I'll see you later, automators.